Perfect. Can you guys hear them?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think my sister's in trouble. Anyways, a cylinder has a height of 10 centimeters and a radius of 1 centimeter. Now, did Jenny and Manny go through with you guys what a prism is?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
What is a
Yes.
prism?
Yes. Yes.
Tessa, you there? Okay. Kieran, what's a prism?
Prism is it's
You want to give me an example of a prism?
like a rectangular prism is it's got a square base, a rectangular base,
Yeah.
and it's not even on all sides.
Yeah. Okay. That rectangular prism is a great idea for prism. Is this a prism, Kieran?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Is this a prism?
No.
No.
It is a
No.
prism.
No. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Guys, it doesn't count if you say yes after I say it is a prism. If you said it before, that makes sense, but it doesn't count if you say the answer after the answer has been said. So this is a prism, and this is a prism. I'll explain what a prism is, right? And I want you to understand it this way. A prism is any shape, right? Where if you cut along a certain line, all the top shapes will be the same shape. So this is a prism because if you cut along this line like this, right? AD where you cut, it's always the same circle. Do you guys understand?
Yes.
This is a
Yes.
prism because if you cut along, for example, oh my gosh, this is really trippy. So if you cut along this, for example, here you'll get a cube. You'll get the same shape as this. Here you'll get the same shape. Here you cut everywhere. And the cube's cool because it doesn't matter which way you cut, you'll always get like you always get the same shape, right? Okay, this is not a good example, but this is a prism, right? This is a cylinder. Again, if I cut it along this line, I'll always get a circle.
But
So,
the lid is different.
sorry?
The lid. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, it's okay. Yeah. So a prism is any shape where you, when you cut it along a certain axis, a certain plane, you'll always get the same shape, right? Now, what's cool about it is that to find the volume of a prism, you only need to find the area of this shape and how long it goes for. So if you want to find the prism of this volume of this calendar, sorry, not calendar, what is this? A candle? Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to find the volume of this candle, all you have to do is find the area of this circle and then multiply by how high it goes up. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So I'm going to show you guys a random question. So something like this. Let me just draw something weird. So this is a irregular prism, okay? Okay, so this is my little prism. This top area, I'll tell you, it's 10 centimeters squared. And the height is 5. Can you guys in the chat tell me what the volume of this shape is? In the chat.
Oh, could you say that again, please?
So this is an irregular prism, right? But this is a prism. The volume at the top, this part here, is 10 centimeters squared. That's the area, sorry, that's the area of that shape. And the height is 5 centimeters. What is the volume of this shape? Naman and Minuti, please unmute yourself unless you have a question.
Melvin. Melvin.
Yes, Gayatri?
You know, like at first when he was showing us like the like the answers for all the questions, right? But question 2, you made a mistake too.
Did I?
Yes, you did. You did times instead of divide.
Oh, it doesn't make a difference. I'm multiplying by quarter. So when you multiply by quarter, it's the same as dividing by 4.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's okay. So what's a quarter as a decimal value, Gayatri?
0.25.
0.25.
0.25.
I'm pretty sure there's only one Gayatri in this class. Okay, so here's the calculator, right? I'm gonna do 0.25. Oops, 25. I'm gonna multiply it by 100, right? When I do that, I get 25. So you can multiply by a quarter or divide by 4. It's the same thing.
Okay, thank you.
Fractions work. You're welcome. Good spot. I think someone else spotted it earlier. Was it Darsh who said that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So a lot of people send me the answer as 50 centimeters cubed, and that is correct. 50 centimeters cubed. And the reason is, as most of you guys pointed out, is you just find the, sorry, as I said, you just find the area of the top surface and multiply by the height. In this irregular prism, we found the area to be 10 and the height to be 5. And when you multiply it, you get 50. Okay? Do you guys understand? So
Okay.
What just happened?
sorry, guys.
I think Melvin left the meeting.
No,
It
because
lagged.
That's an insane lag.
Okay, so guys, please don't unmute yourself. Thank you. Yeah, I think there was just my computer just what do you call it? It had an issue just then. So let's continue the lesson. Yeah, so that's how you find the area of any prism. Now, is a cylinder a prism?
Yes.
Yes.
It is
Yes.
because you have the top surface and you have a height, and anywhere you cut along a cylinder, you always get the same shape. So to find the volume of the cylinder, you find the area of the circle on top, and then you multiply by the height. How do you find the area of a circle? It is pi r squared. R in this case is 1, so 1 squared is 1 times pi. Pi is 3.14, so the area is 3.14, and you multiply by height, and you get 31.4 C. Do you guys understand?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, perfect. So that's how you do question number 3. Next one, 7, 8, and 9, and 10. Okay. 7. Tom is an architect who wants to build a house on a plot of land that is 225 meters squared. He's told that he can only build a house that is 10 times the square root of the area of the plot. How big is his house? Okay, this did not require any knowledge about area, volume, or surface area or anything. This was just simply just an easy math question. What I was saying was that the area of the plot of land is 225 meters squared. He can only build a house that is 10 times the square root of that area. So first of all, what is the things we need to find out? We need to find out, 1 second, draw a line. We need to find out the square root of the area, and then we need to 10x that. So what's square root of 225? It is 15.
15.
15 times 10 is 100
150.
meters squared. Perfect. Create clearer drawings. Next. Question number 8. The distance between the leftmost part, 1 second. Okay. The distance between the leftmost part of the shape to the right is 30 units. I don't know. I'm hoping it's centimeters because the answers are in centimeters, and can equally be divided into each shape. What is the perimeter of the shape? And if you include the parts where the shapes meet. So what that means is that this distance here is 30, And this distance is equally shared by the three shapes. So what that would mean is that this is 10. This distance here is 10. And this here is also 10. Okay. Now, how do you find the question is asking for a perimeter. So what's a perimeter of a circle called?
2 pi r.
Circumference, right?
Circumference.
And the equation for circumference is 2 pi r or pi times diameter. So in this question, for this circle here, the diameter is 10 or the radius is 5. So you just basically be 2 times 5 times 3.14, and that is equal to 31.4, right? Now here's the interesting part. Remove that. The area for this circle here is the same as the area for this circle here. Just gonna copy and paste it. No, I can't do that. No. Oh, thanks. Okay. So it's the same. So we have two circles with the circumference of 31.4. Now, here's the way you solve for the height of this rectangle. So we know that this radius of this, sorry, the diameter of the circle is 10. So the interesting thing about a diameter, guys, is that the diameter is the same anywhere you draw a line of a circle. So this length here is 10. This length here is 10. So this length is also, it must be 10. You guys understand that?
Melvin.
Yes.
This rectangle is
How could it
essentially,
be 10 if it's a rectangle?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask.
yes. So this rectangle essentially is a square. Now, a rectangle, the mathematical definition of a rectangle is any four-sided shape with 90-degree angles. Okay? Four-sided shape with all four angles being 90 degrees and opposite sides are parallel to each other.
But isn't that also like a square?
Exactly. So all squares are rectangles, but not all rectangles are squares.
That makes no sense.
It does. It does. It's like this. All girls are humans, but not all humans are girls.
Okay.
All year 5 students are human beings, but not all human beings are year 5 students.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that makes
all squares fit the definition of a rectangle, but all rectangles do not fit the definition of a square. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So this,
Melvin,
yeah,
can you explain the definition of a square again?
yeah. I'll write it down as well. So, okay,
Okay.
for a square, so rectangle is four-sided shape. It needs to have all four sides 90 degrees. And then opposite sides are parallel. Now, a square is the exact same thing as a rectangle. The only difference is four sides are same length. Do you understand?
Yes.
So this is the only
Yes.
difference between a square and a rectangle. So in this scenario, in this question, the height is 10 and the width is 10. So this is a square. So how do you find the area of a square? It is 10 times 10 or 10 squared. And that is, sorry, we need to find the perimeter. So 10 times 4, that's equal to 40. So the answer to find perimeter is 40 plus 31.4 plus 31.4. And that is equal to?
102.8.
Perfect.
2.8.
How'd you get?
So question number 9, how to find the area of this shape. So you come back here. How do you find the area of a circle?
Melvin,
Yeah,
for the square, how'd you get 4? 10 times 4?
4 times 10.
4 times 10?
Yeah, So a perimeter is basically when you add up each of the different sides, right?
Yeah.
All four sides of a square is the same. So if one side is 10, 10 times 4 is equal to 40. Okay, so if we're trying to find the area of the shape. How do you find the area of a circle? Pi r squared, right? Pi r squared. So we know the pi is 3.14. We know r is 5, and r squared is equal to 25, right? So it'll be 25 times 3.14. So let me go to my calculator. 25 times 3.14. That gives me 78.5. Do you guys understand that?
Yes.
All right. And then this, one second. This square circle is the same area as this circle. So you just add them twice. Now you go to your square. How do you find the area of a square? You just do 10 times 10, and that gives me 100. So to find the area, you do 78.5 times 2 plus 100. And what's the area equal to? Yeah, 257.
257.
257.
Okay. Guys. Again, as I said before, like once you know what the answer is, it's given to you. It doesn't count if you say the answer. Yeah, 257. Perfect. And finally, what is the volume of this net if it's constructed into a 3D shape? So Jenny and Manny went through what net is, right?
Yes.
That's right. Nets are
Yes.
basically
Yeah.
2D. It's 2D visualizations of a 3D shape, right?
So wouldn't this be a cylinder?
Perfect. So this will be a cylinder. Now, here's one thing that Jenny pointed out, and also I think one other student pointed out. In reality, this shape will not exist. It cannot be like, this is only a theoretical shape. You cannot take this out, print it, and make it a cylinder because it will not fit, okay? But for mathematical purposes, for this question, you assume that it would make sense logically, okay? And then you do the question. So what is the volume of this shape if it's constructed in 3D shape? Now, do you guys remember how you find the volume of a 3D shape, of a cylinder?
Length times width.
Sorry?
Length times width.
No, how do you? No.
area.
Pi r squared.
Pi r squared.
Pi r squared
No, no, no.
times height.
I want you to explain. I don't want the formula. I want you to explain it in English or like simple words. How you find the volume of a cylinder. I said it at the start of the lesson.
Wait, Melvin, to find the volume of a cylinder, you get the base and multiply it by the height.
You find the area
Base shape times height.
of this circle, and then you multiply it by this height.
You do Melvin, you
Yeah.
basically do pi r squared times height.
Yeah, so I don't want the formula. I want to explain. So what I was looking for, yes, to find the cylinder, you find the area of this base and then multiply the height. The reason I'm asking for that, not the formula, is because nobody remembers formulas, right? Formulas, you only remember it for a test and then you forget it. But if you understand why you get that formula, you're more likely to remember it. So the reason the formula is what Garrick said. What did Garrick say? Garrick, what was the formula?
Pi r squared times height.
Perfect. The reason it is pi r squared times height is because the area of a circle is pi r squared. And then you multiply by the height. Do you understand? Good job, Nibana. Area times height. So how do you find, we already found the area of this circle, and the area was 78.5, and the height is 10, so the answer is 785. But then this is like accurate because of decimal points. Pi is 3.14159 and goes on. The answer should be B, 785.3. Any questions?
Yes.
What's the question?
I don't get how you, actually, can you just repeat the whole question?
I'll go through it fast. If you want me to slow it down, just jump onto YouTube because this is a recording and just rewatch it, okay?
Okay.
Basically, to find the volume of a cylinder, you get the area of this base, which is a circle. The area of this circle, as you can see here, is 5 squared times pi, which is 78.5. And the height, as you can see here, is 10. Or if you look at here, it's 10. So you do 78.5 times 10, and you get 785.
Yeah.
The reason I have 785.3 is because when I use my calculator, I didn't use 3.14. I used the actual pi function. So that is, I think, here. So that's the pi function in calculator. So I did that times 25 times 10. That.
Melvin,
And 3. Yeah.
how do you figure out pi?
Okay. So I'll go through that. Who asked that question?
Me, Aaron.
Who's me?
Aaron.
Aaron. Okay. I think Sam asked this question earlier as well. So I'll go through that for everyone to understand. So it's really good because we finished all the important the questions already. So I have time to answer any other anything else you want to learn about. And that's a really good question because I love explaining how you find pi. So yeah.
Can you go through question 7 again?
Again. No, sorry. What I recommend is watching the recording because I can't go through the same thing again. All right. So let me open up like a whiteboard.
Melvin,
Yes.
after this, can you explain question 9?
I've already gone through question 9.
Just watch on YouTube.
Oh, oops. Yeah, never mind. I wrote the notes down.
Okay. All right. So can you guys see the whiteboard?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
One sec. This document here, right? I've sent it to your parents on the WhatsApp group. Basically, what this document is the year 5 maths curriculum. And what I've done is I've highlighted in 3 different colors, green, yellow, and red, the different course concept that we've already taught to you guys in class in term 2 or the first class with us. So in already term 1, you guys have already covered most of the concepts from the year 5 syllabus, but there's still some concepts that we need to go through. Green means we don't need to go through that concept again. It's completely done and it should be very easy for you. Yellow means that it's very useful for us to go through that again. So that's why here, the yellow, we went through area, volume, and capacity. Okay? And red is things we have not gone through at all, and we will go through. By the end of this term, the way we've structured the booklet, you will complete the entire year 5 syllabus. Now, here's a caveat. You're going through the year 5 syllabus really fast, okay? You're not going in depth and you're not practicing the questions as much, right? Because we're just teaching you and you're trying a few questions just to go through fast, right? To have a thorough understanding, obviously it takes a lot of practice, right? It's the same as any of you who plays a sport or plays an instrument, right? Your teacher can teach you the notes and the technique in class, but the only way you get better is by practice at home, right? And the way you can do it is, one, you can do the homework, but also jump onto Khan Academy. Incredible, incredible resource, right? Incredible free resource. So jump onto Khan Academy. Let me just log in to Melvin Home. Okay, this is what Khan Academy looks like. Now, let's just go here. By the way, I made this account when I was in year 5. It's so cringe. So let's just say you come here, right? And then you're going through the syllabus. And then let's just say I'm Naman. And Naman looks at the syllabus and says, oh, I don't know how to find the area and the perimeter of rectangles. You know what I'll do? If I'm Naman, I'll come here and I'll find area and perimeter of rectangles. Do you see that? Right there. I click that. There's already a lesson for me to learn. So I click that. And then I'm opened with this thing. So what I'll do is I'll watch this video, then I'll practice. And I can practice here. I can do some questions, right? Incredible, incredible, incredible website for you to get to practice, right? And it's completely free, completely free. Like if you want to drop Loyola and just not have tuition, free resource and it's super, super useful. Let's just say you come here and then you look at another concept. So let's just say you want to learn how to construct displays and including column graphs, dot plots, tables, right? So you go here and then you type in column graphs.
Wait, Melvin,
Yeah.
what about the pi thing?
Yeah,
Which you were going to tell us.
I'll go through it. Sorry?
You were going to tell us about the pi.
I'll go through it. I just want to show you guys this as well. So
Melvin,
yes.
Isn't Khan Academy US?
Yes. But
Like,
maths,
is it related to the Australian syllabus?
well, maths, Shri, it's the same everywhere. The only difference is if you go to Khan Academy and then you search up, for example, I don't know, 5th grade, the syllabus will be slightly different, but maths is the same. And that's why I would recommend searching here rather than through year 5 syllabus.
Because I have this and I see like your spellings.
Yeah, that's fine. The spelling doesn't matter in maths.
Melvin,
Yep.
why does it sound like your Khan Academy sponsoring you to tell us?
Oh, because video is sponsored by Khan Academy. Make sure to use Loyola Turing in the link below to get 10% off Khan Academy. And make sure to smash that like.
You just said it was free.
Yeah, you just said it was free. Yeah.
But you won't get the Khan Academy merch. So if you want to get the Khan Academy merch, make sure to use Loyola Tutoring from the link description below. All right, guys. No, I'm not.
Who would wear the Khan Academy merch though?
Okay, I'm not being sponsored by Khan Academy. All right, this is a free resource. What I'm trying to say is that it's very useful. So for anyone here who thinks that their maths is not that good, right, and wants to improve their maths, go to the syllabus. I've sent it to you in the WhatsApp group. If you want me to send it to you personally, send me a text. I'll send it to you personally. Look at it and see if there's anything that you struggle with, right? For example, I've highlighted this yellow thing because I know that a lot of you struggle with it, comparing fractions and locating them in a number line. A lot of you find issues with fractions. So what do? You go to Khan Academy, type in fractions. So adding in fractions with unlike denominators. Okay, I want to learn that. You click it, and then the first thing it shows up, adding in fractions. You watch the video, and then you can practice, right? So you can watch this whole video, and you can practice here, and learn the concepts. Let's just say while practicing, another awesome thing on Khan Academy, let's just say you don't know how to do it, right? So you say, oh, 4 over 3 plus 2 over 5 is 6 over 15. You get that wrong. So you can get help. So it shows you step by step, 5 each steps on how to solve the question. So if any of you here really, really, really want to get into GATE and really want to improve their maths, jump onto Khan Academy, go through the syllabus, write down the things that you don't understand so you can practice, right? Because guys, I want you to understand this, right? You only have class with me 2 hours in class and then 2 hours on Zoom, right? There's
Technically
no
one.
technically 1. So 3 hours a week. There's no way I can teach you all, well, basically there's about 100 of you guys, right? There's no way I can teach 100 of you individually the entire year 5 syllabus in 3 hours every week, right? Your school spends, I don't know, I think about 5-6 hours a week teaching you, and even then they don't cover most of it. So it's important that you guys take responsibility.
It's about 30 hours a week.
No, but for math it would only be 6 hours, right? It was 1 hour per day, I think, on average. By the way, Naman, I'm not here to argue about exactly how many hours there are. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is it's very hard for me to go through the whole syllabus with you guys individually because each of you have different needs. So you might be really, really good at the hard concepts in math. So for me, when I was in year 10, I was really, really good at all the hard year 10 concepts. But in year 9, I really wanted to get into the NPL soccer team. So I spent all of year 9 just playing soccer all the time. So a lot of my year 9 concepts I missed out because I didn't focus in class. So I went to Khan Academy and I had to relearn those concepts. So for some of you, if you want to improve, for example, you need to learn how to do fractions, or you look at it and then you say that, oh, we went through algebra. I don't understand how to do algebra. Let me go learn it on Khan Academy. So this is a great resource for you guys to learn. Okay, back to the main
Rick,
topic. Yeah.
I have a question. So what does green and yellow and red stand for?
So green means we've taught you guys how to do it. There's no need for us to go through that again because it's very easy. You should definitely know how to do it. Yellow means we've already taught you guys these concepts, but it would be very useful to revise them again. So for example, here I've highlighted this concept here, which is describe, continue, and create patterns with fractions, decimals, and whole numbers, right? Resulting from addition and subtraction. And we've already gone through addition and subtraction of fractions last term, but I know that it's a concept that most students struggle with. So I've highlighted as yellow because I know that it's going to be useful to revise those concepts again. Do you guys understand?
Melvin,
Yeah.
is it in English as well?
There is English in Khan Academy, but I wouldn't say it's anywhere near as good as the maths. The maths is way better. So
Yeah.
you can practice English here, I think reading and language. So imaginative words, athletes in action, I don't know, inventing process, blah, 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 blah.
Melvin, how do you make an account?
So you go to, for example, you just go to the Khan Academy website. By the way, thanks for asking good questions, by the way, Gayatri and Nibina. I like it. Thanks for asking generally good questions. So you go to Khan Academy and you can go here and then let's just say you want to create an account, you create an account here and then you can join as a learner, teacher, or parent. So for example, if your parents would like to see how you guys are doing, your parents can click parent and come here and they can sign up. So they can sign with email, their Apple ID, their Facebook or Google. And then once they've signed up, they can make an account for you so they can see how you guys are doing as well. All right.
Melvin,
What about the learner?
The learner is just you making an account for yourself.
Yeah, but how do you do that?
You just click learner, that's it. So instead of clicking parent, you just click learner. Now on my Khan Academy profile, I'm pretty sure I have registered as a teacher. So if I go to my teacher dashboard, this is from my students from last year for Gates. So I did it. So for example, here, year 5 Gates students from a few years ago. I can see, for example, the name of my students, Agnes, Aiden, Alphonse. Oh, this is Alphonse, Javel, all these kids. I can also see how the guys are doing. So for example, in the last 7 days, I'm pretty sure none of them have done anything because they don't come to get it. Oh, Janani's still studying. Good job, Janani. But the rest of these kids, they haven't done anything. Makes sense because, you know, they don't do gate anymore. But if you make a parent account, your parents can see how much learning time you're doing, how many skills you leveled up, and things like that. So Janani has been studying a lot. She's done 176 minutes, leveled up 35 points, and she's skills without progress is 1. That's pretty good.
Melvin,
Yeah.
you didn't tell me what red stands for.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. And red stands for things we have not taught you. So for example, we did not teach you how to compare angles and making angles and stuff like that. We have not taught you how to do enlargement of shapes and things like that. So the red things are things we need to teach you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So let me just quickly,
Melvin,
yeah,
can we join your class?
join my class. No, I'm not going to be making any more classes just because I really don't have time to track everyone. In addition to what we're doing like gay classes. So the Khan Academy is just something that you guys can do on your own. So
Okay.
you can just jump on in. This PDF, I already sent it to you on the WhatsApp group. Go through any of the concepts that you don't understand and then revise it on Khan Academy.
Wait,
right.
Melvin,
Yes.
since we finished quite early, is the English teacher gonna come in a bit early?
No, we're not finished. I'm gonna go through Pi. And then after that, I'll give you a break and then the English teacher will start at 6.
Is Maria gonna come?
Yes, Maria's the English teacher. Yep, she will. All right. Let me see.
Someone just
Sorry?
Sergeant Chocolate just left.
Chocolate? Sorry, what did you say?
This person called Sergeant Chocolate just left.
That's okay. You don't need to tell us that. Let me.
Wait, are you doing the pie thing now?
Yes, I am. I'm trying to connect in, Naman. Just give me a minute. Thank you. Resume authorization. Please install. Okay, I can't connect my iPad. All right, I can't connect my iPad, but I can still show it to you guys how to do it on here. So pi. Most people think pi is just a random 3-digit number that we figured out, but it has a purpose and there's like a story behind how we found pi. So pi basically is a number that we find when we compare the relationship between a circle and its diameter and its a circle's diameter and its
Circumference, I think.
and circumference. Yeah, let me just try to move
Sorry,
this.
Melvin. Our family friends are being a bit too loud, so I have to tell them.
That's okay. That's okay. Pi is equal to the circumference divided by diameter. So the ancient Egyptians, I think, were the ones who found it. So like the famous ancient scholars like Pythagoras and Socrates and Plato and stuff like that. These famous ancient mathematicians, what they did was they took a string and they went around a circle and they drew a line. So they found out. Oh, I'm going to use a different color. That's not a nice color. Let's use black. So
Do blue.
they okay. I'll do blue because you asked me, Garrick. Only because you asked me, Garrick. Okay.
Special.
You're special. Yeah. So they found the diameter, they found the length of the diameter, and then they measured it with a string. And what they did was once they took the string, they went around this the circle with the string. So they figured out it goes 1 time, it goes 2 times, it goes 3 times, and then a tiny bit more, right? So they found out that the string approximately went around the circle 3 times and a bit. But over time, with more and more precise measurements, they found out that it goes 3.14159 times. And then as technology evolved, we got better and better and better at calculating it. And then now we know it's 3.14159.265.35, blah, 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 blah. It goes on forever, right? So that's how you find pi. Pi is the amount of times the diameter goes around a circle.
So then how are you supposed to figure it out then?
You don't have to figure it out. Mathematicians have already figured it out for you. And they figured it out that it's 3.14, right? So all the way till year 12, right? All the way till year 12. And even in university, maybe not in university, to an extent, right? Let's just say you become an engineer at university, right? 3.14 is the maximum you need to know. The furthest, if you really want to be accurate, you go 3.14159. That's the maximum you need to know. But for till year 12, if you know 314, that's it. You're set. If you forget, let's just say your calculator doesn't have pi and you forget how to find pi, another way you can do is a cheat sheet. This is not accurate, but there's a cheat sheet. What you can just do is 22 divided by 7. And that gives you 3.142. So it's not exactly accurate, but 3.14, it's close enough. You guys understand?
Melvin,
Yep.
if you want to be really, really, really accurate, it's 3.14159265358979323846443.
Thanks, Siri.
How did you remember that?
He's reading it off the screen. But I'll
Yes.
just the chat.
Or he's either making the one.
Okay. All right. Okay. So that's pretty much it. Do you guys have any more questions for me?
How do you use pi in an equation?
How do you use pi in an equation?
And also, can you teach algebra again?
No, I can't teach algebra again. But you know who can teach you algebra? This video sponsor, Khan Academy. Jump onto Khan Academy to learn algebra.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, there you go. All right. Any other questions, guys?
Are you doing metaphors again in English?
Nope. I think Maria has something else to teach you guys. Or
Sorry, Melvin.
yeah.
I have a question from term 1, last term.
Oh, we can't go through that now, sir.
Okay, sorry.
That's
Oh.
okay. What you can do is, just because we're kind of running out of time, next week, if we have time, I can go through that for you. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So Maria,
Melvin,
yeah,
wait, was it you at church today?
I didn't go to church today yet. I'm going in the evening. Who was
okay.
this? Oh, Rowan, did you go to Maddington Church today or St. Emily's?
I went to St. Emily's. Someone looked like you.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I think I'm pretty special. I don't think anyone else looks like as awesome as me. All right. So you guys can have your 5-minute break. Come back at 6, and then Maria will go through English with you guys. All right?
Wait, Melvin,
Yes.
is this video actually sponsored by Khan Academy?
Yes. This video is sponsored by Khan Academy. Make sure to
Oh,
use.
really?
Make sure to
It
use.
is?
1 second. Make sure to use Loyola Rocks 15 for a 15% discount in the Khan Academy merch store.
Where do you buy merch?
No, I'm pretty sure
That's not very persuading.
somebody's
to be
gonna buy the merch.
Wait, you know this is actually false.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He's just lying.
Well, then the people who are going to go on YouTube and watch this video are going to be like believing this and then go by.
Yeah, and then
I actually checked this. That's Khan Academy one.
I don't think anyone watches my YouTube videos. It's 2 hours long and it's the most boring things ever.
Wait, Melvin, most of my
Yeah.
friends at school.
I agree.
Sorry?
Most of my friends at school like go on and then like they're like, oh, my parents are going to go to Loyola tutoring. I'm just like, oh, did you know this is actually a YouTube channel?
Wait,
And then
wait.
they go to the YouTube channel.
Wait. Your friends tell your parents that I have a YouTube channel and that their parents watch my YouTube videos?
Yeah,
Really?
I'm
Oh
so
my God.
generous.
I'm a YouTuber. Let's go.
Melvin, I had to watch your entire speech video, which is like 35 minutes long.
Speech video?
I mean, interview video.
Oh, that's up to you, brother.
I know, but like, did it have to be that long?
Brother, Mr. Naman, did you get into Rosemoid?
Yeah.
Yes, mic drop. I got you into Rosemoid, Naman. 35 minutes is worth it. Let's go.
Nah, I watched it for a different one, for a different interview.
Wait, because that video was released, I think, a few months ago, right?
Yeah, exactly. I joined Rosemoid.
But Mr. Naman, did I not help you for the interview before you did it as well?
Yeah. You're
Exactly.
welcome for the free view, though.
Oh, thank you. I'm gonna get an extra 5 cents for that view.
Wow.
All right, guys, go on your break, and then because your English lesson will start soon. Okay, go on your break and come back at 6.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm back.
Do we have
Bye.
to?
There's no the
We
need.
have to leave.
I'm just staying, waiting.
Hi, Marie. Hi, Marie.
You have to leave.
I guess not.
You don't have to leave. You don't have to leave.
Okay. Do I have to leave?
Hi, Maria.
Yeah, he's still here.
I mean, like, why would he leave?
It's being recorded.
Oh yeah, he has to.
Being recorded.
Is this still recording?
Yes, someone's recording.
Yes.
Melvin, stop recording. Oh, sheesh, we're dead.
Wow.
Sheesh.
What? You guys don't want to go and enjoy your break? You have 3 minutes.
I just grabbed the
I'm just getting a snack. Goodbye.
Okay, I'm out of here.
I'm still not out of here.
I'm staying here.
Me too. I already got my
I
snack.
just got myself a muffin and some milk.
Meal.
I just grabbed the cookie and came back.
Me too. I also had a cookie, but then I ate it. Now I'm still hungry.
I'm still eating mine.
Sad like me.
At least I won't be hungry after this.
Maria,
Yes.
do you have a YouTube channel?
I don't have a YouTube channel, no.
Maria,
Yeah.
what are we learning?
Okay, so today we're going to start off with a little bit of personification, and I'll go more into it at 6 because I know that a
Oh.
couple people should be on their break still. If you guys want to utilize those last 2 minutes, go for it. But we'll touch on a little bit of personification, and then I have a little bit of a reading activity for us to do.
I did personification in school last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how did you go with
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
I did quite well.
Awesome.
I got an A in figurative language.
Good. Yes, it is a part of figurative language.
Maria, are you gonna share your screen?
Yes, today I'll be sharing my screen.
Hooray!
Sheesh.
Who sings cease?
I think
The
it's
person
Hashira.
who loves the West Seas.
It's Yashvi.
Oh, it's you. No, it's you, Hashira.
She sounds.
Why does Hashita scream so loud in class?
That was Yashvi.
She always does that.
Like you always do that. Whenever we're with Jenny, you're like,
Excuse me, that is Yashvi.
Yep, that's Hashira. You always do that though.
No, I swear it was Yashvi.
I'm the one
being with Elena.
Lena.
Hello?
This is
Hello.
Okay, all right. It is 6 o'clock now. Is everyone back from their break?
No.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No. There's like 50 people.
Yes. All right.
yes.
I think we need to wait for a little bit more time.
All right. So I'm gonna wait till 6:01 to start the lesson, but I am gonna start going through what we're doing today, just running you guys through it. Okay. So how have your weeks been? How is everybody doing?
Good.
Good.
Good. Good.
Fine.
Good.
Sad.
Pretty good.
Good. Very good.
I'm good.
Good.
Going
Good.
great. Thank you for the metaphors because we did metaphors at school and it really helped me.
Wow, that's so good to hear. I'm very happy that that helped you. Good. Yeah, so today we're going to be carrying on with setting anyways, because we know we were doing metaphors for setting, and today we're going to be doing personification for setting. Okay. Does anybody know what personification is?
Isn't
Yes.
it like,
Yes.
like
Yes.
giving
Okay, I
objects
realize
human
now-
quality?
No.
Awesome. So I realize now that's on me for asking 100 people at one go, but if we could stick our hand up and I'll ask one person at a time, like whoever. All right, Shivani, could you answer the question? No?
Describing a non-living thing with human qualities.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So my favorite thing about personification is actually just the word itself, personification. So I'm going to share my screen now. Wow, this is also new for me, but I will attempt it. Let's hope this works.
There's background noises.
Yeah, hold on, I'm
Can
just
you
gonna
mute
mute.
everyone?
Yeah. Okay, well, it turns out I have to leave the meeting to share my screen because it was a locked thing on my MacBook. So we're just gonna live without it, and that's okay because we don't actually necessarily need it today. But if anybody needs me to repeat anything, I would rather you ask me in the messages than ask me out loud, okay?
I can see your screen through your glasses because of the reflection.
Oh, yes, well, they're new glasses, so hopefully they help with the reflection anyways. Okay, so anyways, my favorite thing about personification is the fact that personification actually has two words in it. It has person and ification, okay? And I know ification isn't necessarily a word, but it's a suffix. And what that means is we know what a person is, right? But ification means we're trying to make something into a person, yeah? So the word is, when we break it apart, is actually the definition, which is fantastic. And I find that very interesting. Okay, so we know what personification is. So I'm very happy to move on with that. But how do we use personification anyways? Just how do we use it? So what we need when we talk about personification is we need a variety of nouns, adjectives, and verbs, okay? They are your best friends. You need to have a very extensive vocabulary before you go on into gate. Okay, I noticed that there are 3 people with their hands up. Shri, do you have a question?
I think I know how you screen share without the locking.
Oh, no, I've already sorted that out, but I have to leave the meeting and come back in, and I'm not going to do that, so it's okay. And we don't need the screen for today. It'd be more a lecture, okay?
Maria.
Okay.
Yes.
I got like good.
Garrick, you had a question? And you're on mute.
I'm on
Yeah.
mute. Okay.
Do you
So
have
like, so a good example is like the wind howled in the night.
Yeah, that would be an example of personification. Yeah, fantastic. So Navazish, do you have a question? And if I'm saying your name wrong, please let me know.
No, you're saying it correct. But can you just go through it again?
Yes, of course I can. So where would you like me to go from? What personification is or how we use it?
What it is.
Okay, so the definition of personification is associating human qualities to inanimate objects.
What does inanimate like mean?
Okay, so inanimate means
Does it
things
have
that
to
aren't
be human qualities?
things that aren't alive.
Maria,
Yes.
can you personify emotions?
Yes, you can. You can pretty much personify anything that doesn't breathe.
Like, how would you do that?
That's a very interesting question, and I'd love to go into detail on it, and that would take an hour in itself to talk about emotions. So normally when we talk about personifying emotions, we try to find, I guess, a lot of vocabulary that would describe the emotion, okay? So what emotion in particular?
Can you like say what the definition again?
Yeah, of course I can. Aaron, was that your question to me? The how you would personify emotions?
Yeah.
Okay, I will go into detail at the end of the lesson because today our focus is on personification and setting, all right?
Okay.
So back to the definition very quickly. Personification is associating human qualities to inanimate things. And inanimate means things that do not breathe.
Okay.
Can you send that in the chat?
Yep, I will send the definition at the end. I'll send everything you need at the end, okay?
Maria,
Yes.
could you tell us like what to write down? Like whenever there's
Of course, yeah. So it's completely up to you what you want to write down at the end of the day as well, because I feel like it's note taking is best done when you don't understand something, and then you can ask me questions at the end, okay? But if you don't understand the definition, definitely get that down, because personification is something that you must use when you are trying to form well, not must use, but I find it very interesting when people use personification for settings, okay? Ishan, you have a question?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, what's your question?
Can you personify like objects?
Yeah, that's what you do. So personification works on just objects, okay? Things that don't breathe.
And is it easier to personify objects or emotions?
That's a very good question. I find that where I am now, I like doing both, but when I was in school, it was much easier to do objects. It doesn't mean that one is better than the other. I just found it easier because that's where my vocabulary was. But the better your vocabulary is, the more nouns you know, the more synonyms of those nouns you know, the adjectives and the verbs that you have, the more you're going to be able to personify anything, really. Okay.
Wait, Maria, can you give an example of personifying an emotion?
An example of personifying emotion. So I can see that you guys are really holding on to this whole personifying emotion thing, aren't you? So let me think. Personifying emotion. You know what? I'll give you an example at the end of the lesson. I'd like to go back to setting. Advik, do you have a question?
Could you repeat? Sorry, but could you repeat the meaning once more?
Of course I can. So personification is associating human qualities to inanimate objects.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Maria.
Yes.
So like, can you give an example of a metaphor, about like an example that you would write about personification?
An example of
which is good.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that for me?
No, like, can you explain? Yeah, not explain. Can you do you know do you know any personification sentences which is like good that for writing in
I think he's asking for an example of personification.
Yeah.
All right, yes, I got that eventually. Yeah. So a good example, right, of something for gate. Okay. That would depend on what your prompt is. Okay. And we are going to get into a narrative prompt today and what kind of setting we would create based on that narrative prompt. But let's say my narrative prompt was the word wave, W-A-V-E, okay? I obviously like the ocean because I did that last week as well. So if I was writing, if I was using personification, I was trying to personify the ocean, right? I would take the word ocean and I would find an adjective, verb, or noun that I feel would kind of describe it best, okay? Or what it was doing best, okay? So in a second, Navazish, I understand that you're trying to ask a question, 2 seconds, okay? So an example I might have would be the ocean spurred to life. Navazish, do you have a question?
Yeah, you know the message that you sent?
Yes.
It didn't go through.
Oh, what do you mean by it didn't go through?
Didn't you say you're gonna send things as a document, stuff like something like that last week?
Yeah, I would rather, I know that one person asked for it in the chat, but I would rather send it all in a document after, okay?
Yeah, okay.
Could you explain? Could you tell me the personification again for the ocean?
The example, the ocean spurred to life. Pav, do you have a question?
Maria,
Yes.
is it the ocean spilled or swirled?
Spurred. The word is spurred,
Oh,
and that is
okay.
SPURRED. Spurred.
Thank you.
Do we need the definition of spurred?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Yes, I think so.
Okay, fantastic. So spurred is an adjective, and we mostly use it to describe the way a horse moves, okay? So it means that it's making something move. So spurred is to make something move, okay?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Ahmed, do you have a question?
Yes. How do you use personification in like a sentence?
In a sentence. So an example of personification?
No, like how would you use it in a sentence? Like what would you basically
So how
an
you would
example.
actually, okay, so how you
Yeah.
would use it, right, is you would want to have your setting all decided. You would want to know that you're writing about the ocean. You want to know how you want to describe the ocean, okay? So if you were writing, I want you to imagine how you would describe the ocean, and I want you to pick a part of the ocean that you want to associate to the oh my goodness, I totally lost my train of thought. Basically, I will go into that later because it will come up as we go. I noticed that there are a lot of questions that are kind of jumping right to the end of the lesson. You kind of all want the answers right now, but it is a step-by-step process, okay? So if we could save our questions to maybe another 15, 20 minutes, just write them down as you go, and I will answer them then, okay? If anybody has any very, very, very important questions, please put them into the chat, like life or death questions, okay? Okay, so moving on. We want to know how to use personification. And I did say already that you want to have a collection of nouns, adjectives, and verbs. So what you can do every week is you can experiment with the new vocabulary that you've been given in class. Or I can provide vocabulary in the document if you would like some that I feel have worked for me in personification, okay? So a couple of the nouns and adjectives, and I'll give you some more examples, okay, would be howled, hissed, growled, spurred, and hiccuped. They're mostly verbs. And an inanimate object to focus on would be car, can, object, boat, or engine, okay? So I just chose a bunch of random things and a bunch of random nouns, adjectives, and verbs, because the point I'm trying to prove here is that anything can be made into personification. Anything can be personified, okay? So what we have to do now is we want to align our vocabulary, so our nouns, adjectives, and verbs, to the inanimate objects, okay? So for example, the first one I gave you was the ocean spurred to life. I've already given you that one, right? So when I put those two together, it made sense to me because have you ever thrown a rock into the ocean? It makes quite a big splash,
Yes.
right? Yeah, it makes quite a big splash. And I just thought about that action and an experience I had and how I could describe that experience. One of the most important things about creating realistic settings is always, like I said last week, reflecting on your personal experiences, okay? So the next one was, I did say pan, okay? And out of the adjectives, nouns, and verbs that I had howled, hissed, growled, spurred, and hiccuped. I have never seen a pan hiccup. I have never seen a pan spur. I have never seen a pan growl at me before. I have, however, seen a pan hiss. When you add hot butter or just butter to a pan, the pan is going to hiss. Okay, the pen is going to make a bunch of noise and it's going to screech and cry in protest. So yes, a pen would hiss. Now, the next inanimate object I'm going to go with was engine. Okay, so can an engine howl? I'm not too sure. I'm not very good at cars. Can an engine hiss? Can an engine growl? Well, yeah. Can an engine spur? And can an engine hiccup? As far as I'm concerned, the only time I have messed my car up enough to get a good example out of this was when my engine growled. I had very limited fuel and I turned my car on and my engine growled. So
Wait,
that would make sense to me.
Maria?
Yes.
Sometimes in books they say the engine spurred to life.
Yep, that's another one. Also hiccups would work here. So in my lived experience, if I stick my key into my car and I try turning it, sometimes it makes that. Have you ever heard when a car first starts to come alive?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
the
Yes.
beginning part?
Yeah.
That would be a good way of saying the car spurred to life, okay? All right, and the last example I'm going to give you is I did say tugboat in the inanimate objects. So out of the vocab that I have left, I have howled like you howl in pain, and I have hiccuped. Now this one is a bit weird, so I just went with the little tugboat hiccuped across the lake. And those are some examples that I just pulled together, okay? All right, I'm going to ask if you have any questions about aligning nouns, adjectives, and verbs to inanimate objects specifically, okay? Just that. Whether you have nouns, any questions about what we just did there, aligning our nouns, adjectives, and verbs to inanimate objects. Does anybody have any questions about that? Okay, there's a bunch. So, Gayatri? Gayatri, yes, please. Thank you for correcting me. Do you have a question
No.
about that part specifically?
No, my hand was just up from before. Sorry, I'll turn it off.
Okay. Alina, do you have a question about what we just did?
Oh, my hand's on. Oh, never mind.
All right. Can everybody lower their hand if they don't have a question specifically about what I just went through? All right, Ishan, do you have a question? No? Okay, cool. Navazish?
Yes. How would you do a verb, like one of those sentences for a water bottle?
How would I personify a water bottle?
Yes.
Oh, very easy one. The water bottle coughed as I squeezed the nozzle.
How does that work?
Thank you.
How does that work?
How does that work?
What do you mean, how does that work?
How does
So,
that make sense?
How does that make sense? Fantastic. When you have time, I want you to go find a water bottle and I want you to grab it by the body and I want you to fill it with water. And I want you to make sure the lid is open. And I want you to squeeze the body as hard as you can and watch how the water comes out of the top, okay?
What happens if it's a metal one?
Yeah, what happens if it's a metal one?
Yeah. Well, then you wouldn't be using a metal one. But thank you for that. And I'm sure that you'll use those examples as you please, all right? So I'm going to be moving on from that section now, and any other questions can be left in the chat and I'll answer them there. Sorry, someone has Kermit the Crab as Kermit the Frog as their background. It's actually quite funny. Moving on, noticing it. Okay, so further explanation, just so that I can make sure that you have this, I'm just going to go into detail on that part, all right? So if anybody wants to take notes here, because someone did ask when they should take notes, this would be a very good place to take notes, okay? So an example of a metaphor is the light danced across the sky. Even though we know the action of dancing is one that can only technically be done by humans, we don't have a problem with the sentence in itself. We don't have a problem with how it's been personified.
Wait,
okay?
what is it again? The light danced across the
Sky.
Thank you.
How is that a metaphor?
It's not a metaphor. We're doing personification.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Now I forgot what a metaphor is then.
Well, then you can watch the YouTube video from last week. Right? Or
Oh,
unless
yeah.
you need the document, up to you.
Yeah, I think you can.
All right. So we don't have a problem with that sentence at all. It kind of makes sense and it helps us to picture what's happening. The light danced across the sky. I can quite clearly see what's happening, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have the same image that I have, because different people are always going to interpret personification, metaphors, similes differently, because these things are based on lived experience. All right. The same way, like with the water bottle example, some people didn't necessarily understand it, right? They were like, how can a water bottle cough? How does that make sense? That's my lived experience. I can understand it and I can see it. Maybe, not maybe, sometimes when we haven't had those lived experiences, it's very hard to understand personification. So we want to make sure that when we are writing or personifying any kind of inanimate object, we're choosing things that are simple for people to understand. So you want to choose relatable lived experiences is the point I am trying to make here, okay? So moving on. How can you identify a metaphor?
When it's comparing two objects with is or are.
Oh, sorry, I'm just gonna mute everyone. And if anybody can stick their hand up and answer that question, it would be fantastic. Does anybody know how to identify a metaphor within a text?
How to identify a metaphor?
Yeah, Norman, did you know the answer?
Yeah, a metaphor is when you're comparing two objects with is or are and it isn't directly like exactly it. It's just a comparing. It's just
Very
comparing.
close. So what you're telling me is you're actually explaining what a metaphor is to me, not how to identify personification within a text.
Okay, to identify personification in a text,
how would we find it?
When you can look for if the subject's living or not living, and then you can tell if like it's been linked with human activities which frequently happen by humans, not non-living things.
Good, fantastic. We also want to look out for the word it, okay? Because we know that objects don't normally have pronouns, right? And when they do, let's say that the object has a he or she attached to it, that's a dead giveaway that it's personification. But if it continues with it, we know that we are still using, we're still talking about the object, okay? So we're also looking at pronouns here. Aaron, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
Yes, like
okay.
When you're trying to figure out a personification, you need to also look at like if the object is real and if they're saying like adding people's like what people usually do to.
Yes, good. So what I've noticed right now is a lot of people are confusing personification for metaphor, all right? What I'd like you to realize is very quickly, a metaphor is when something is said to be something else, okay? Personification is when we take human characteristics, so the things that make us human, the things that we do, our behaviors, our actions, the things that we feel, and we give them to inanimate objects, things that can't breathe. Do we understand that there is a very big difference between a metaphor and personification?
Yes.
Okay, and if anybody is still confused about the difference between a metaphor and personification, please let me know in the chat and I will answer at the very end of the lesson, okay?
Maria.
Yes.
I accidentally sent the what a metaphor is in the chat thing.
That's okay, I've noticed that now and that's fine. All right, so moving on. We've just said that you want to identify the pronouns to see whether there is a personification, whether personification exists within the text we're looking at, okay? So how can we practice personification? I know a lot of you want to be very strategic for GATE and you want to have these things ready to go, and that's okay. But the only way that it's going to come naturally to you on the day is if you practice them now, okay? So I'm going to give you a bunch of adjectives, verbs, and nouns now, and I would actually like to see whether you could come up, and of course I'll give you the inanimate objects, whether you can come up with some personification for them, okay? So,
Wait, excuse me.
yes.
For personification, isn't it also a matter of how many words you know or
It
adjectives?
is. That's why you do need a very extensive vocabulary. You want to be practicing your like different kinds of words every day. Like even now, as I'm in university, I will still give myself a new set of words to learn every week. Your vocabulary is extremely important. I can't stress how important having interesting words are when you do creative writing. All right, so I sent it in the, yes.
Can't you give animals like human characteristics?
Can't you give animals human characteristics?
Yes.
You personify animals.
You can in a way, but there's a different term to that, and I don't want you to look at animals when you're talking about personification. It's something completely different, okay?
Okay.
What's the word that we're doing?
I've given you a list of words that you're doing, and I'm about to give you the inanimate object, okay?
Yeah.
What does walloped mean?
So wallop means to hit something. So do we know what smacked is when you get smacked by someone?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. So
Yes.
wallop.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Yep. Good. Walloped means to be smacked very hard.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Did anybody have an issue finding those? Oh, sorry, I sent it to one person, not everybody. Did anybody have an issue finding the adjective, verbs, and nouns that I sent in the chat?
Yeah.
All right, take another look. I just sent them through one more time.
Maria,
Yes.
how many of those do we do? Like, make?
I would like you to try. Yeah, I'm getting to that. So I'd like you to try do 4 for me, please.
Okay,
Should we write them in the chat?
I've got it.
These are for you because I'm not necessary. You can use different, you can align different inanimate objects to different adjectives, verbs, and nouns. It'll still make sense. But if you would like to put one of your examples in the chat, I would be very happy with that. Thank you so much for asking.
Okay.
All right, so I'll give you guys a couple of seconds to do that. And when everybody has got an example in the chat, we'll move on.
Can you tell us like an example for one of those?
Yep, you would like an example of one of them. Okay, so where was it?
What ocean can we do, Wade?
I sent one of my things in the chat.
Yep. Okay. I can see them, so don't worry about that. Someone asked for an example, and I'll give you one now. The fire licked at the side of the building, and I'll write that into the chat so everybody can see it. Okay.
Wait, does that mean that the fire was touching the building?
Yes. So imagine what licking looks like, and I want you to kind of imagine the fire doing that as well. Okay.
Maria?
Yes.
I got one. I don't know if it's correct or not. I wrote the car groaned when the engine started.
That's okay. Yep. I'm going through all of them, and the examples that I want to go through, I will read them out loud. Okay.
Yep.
Advik, I really like your example. That's fantastic.
A lot of people are leaving.
That's okay. Okay, so once we've done that, I'd like to move on to how we can use personification in setting, all right? And I'm just gonna mute all of you very quickly because there's a bit of background noise on my end. All right. So there are steps to do it in setting, and then if you would like to write these steps down, you are more than welcome to. So step 1 in using personification in a setting is to, of course, pick a setting. So step 2 is to break that setting down. I will be going into details on this, do not stress. Step 3 is to have a list of adjectives, nouns, and verbs associated to that setting, okay?
Wait,
What was step 2? What was step 2? What was step 2?
Okay, guys, if you missed out, I will put it in the chat later. Do not worry. I have to keep going with this because we are in a bit of a time crunch, okay? So don't worry, I will compile them and put them in the chat. So maybe just listen along for now, all right? And step 4 is to align your adjectives, nouns, and verbs to the aspects of the setting that you've chosen, okay? So an example of this, my example setting is I've done ocean twice now. I did ocean for metaphor and I've done it at the beginning of the lessons of personification. I'm going to choose a different one. I'm going to choose forest, okay?
Wait,
A
Maria,
forest, yes.
when you say link the adjective to the setting, would that be like in the haunted house, the floorboards groaned under the weight? Like trying to create a creepy adjective with the creepy atmosphere?
Yeah, so what you've done, right, is your setting is the haunted house, okay? But what you chose within that was the floorboards, right? That was a part of your setting. And then you picked an adjective, a verb, or a noun, and you associated it, you linked it to that specific part of your setting. So that's very good. The example you gave me is correct.
Thanks.
All good. All right, so like I said, the setting example that we're going with is forest. And you want to ask yourself what a forest is made up of. Yes?
Trees.
Maybe I can't hear anything you say.
Okay, can everybody else hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's
I think
Abby
he
who
should
can't hear me, or
Can't quite hear you.
I can.
okay.
I can.
All right, good. So I'm just gonna, I'm assuming that there's no problem on my end. I've checked, my AirPods are charged, everything's good. Maybe check your audio, see if everything's good with you.
My audio is good.
Okay.
You responded to her question. That means you can hear her technically, right?
Okay, so let's keep going. So we want to break up the forest into what a forest is made up of. This is where it's very important to envision your setting. My forest is going to look very different to your forest, but we do know one thing: all forests have trees and dirt, a lot of it. Trees and dirt. Okay, those are the foundations of my forest. Whatever else you believe a forest needs in it, you can have that. But for me, the foundations of what my forest is built upon are branches, trees, leaves, and dirt, okay? So I have broken down my setting into what it is made up of. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to find adjectives, nouns, and verbs to align to these things. And those things were branches, trees, leaves, and dirt. I want to find adjectives, nouns, and verbs to align to those aspects, okay? So a couple examples might be whip, creak, whisper, hugs, and dance. One of the very quick thing. One of the ways that I learned to write personification and I developed my vocabulary was reading Enid Blyton books. Her book specifically, when it came to creating settings and talking about settings, I still use her techniques today. The creativity that she had in her books, I still use them as a 4th year uni student, okay? So if anybody ever wants to practice their personification, practice their construction of setting, and doesn't have the time to sit and write, reading also works. Go grab yourself some Enid Blyton books. In this case, I really like The Enchanted Forest, and The Enchanted Wood. If anybody hasn't read that yet, it's fantastic. Go for it, go read them.
Wait, can you type the author's name in the chat?
Yes, I can.
Maria,
yes, does someone have a question?
can you say the verbs again? I didn't get that.
Oh, okay, so we were writing them down. So the adjective, nouns, and verbs, the list I had was whip, creak, whisper, hugs, and dance.
Okay, thank you.
Maria.
Yes.
For the you were talking about Enid Blyton.
Yeah.
Do you mean like the book the Magic Faraway Tree? Do you mean like
it's the Faraway Tree? Oh my goodness, with Moonface. Yes, that's the one I was going for.
And
you
then, like,
clearly know what the book is about, right?
Yeah. So do you mean like how Enid Blyton used different words up the tree?
No, that would be more creativity. I'm talking about how she constructed her settings. So what was very interesting about how she constructed her settings was that she personified the entire wood. She personified the enchanted tree. So if you were ever looking to understand how personification works in a setting, I would go read Enid Blyton's The Enchanted Faraway Tree. I will put Magic Faraway Tree. I'll put it down later at the end of the lesson again. And I'm sure you will all remind me if I forget to put something down at the end of the lesson, okay? But I will do that all at the end. But yes, that's a book recommendation for me. Anyway.
Wait, are you a fiction like reader, or do you normally read non-fiction?
I read everything. I think you can't limit yourself to one genre. Anyways, so moving on, we are up to our adjectives, nouns, and verbs, and I hope everybody got them down. So after that, the 4th and final step in this process is just to align my aspects of the forest with the adjectives, verbs, and nouns that I have chosen, okay? I will give you 3 examples. If you want to write them down, you are more than welcome to. The 3 examples I am going with today were, let's see, the branches whipped at each other. Dirt hugged the bottom of his shoes, and the trees seemed to whisper to one another. And yes, for everybody freaking out because they missed all 3 of those examples, it is now in the chat. All right, so would
how did the trees?
I'm so sorry, can you repeat that question?
How did the trees whisper?
How did the trees whisper? So when the wind blows through the trees, the leaves rustle and it kind of creates noise.
Okay.
Okay, does anybody want me to go through the 4 steps of breaking your chosen setting down and aligning adjectives, nouns, and verbs again? Does anybody have questions about those steps?
Maria, can you give us sentences about what it says? Like the sentences about the setting things in the forest and the verbs?
The sentences, as in, do you want me to put it in the chat for examples?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're already in there, but
I didn't get them.
Oh, okay.
Could you please repeat the 4 steps for the
Yes, I can. I can go through the 4 steps again because this is the most important part. So yes, I'll go through it again. So step 1 is to pick your forest, okay? Pick your setting, my bad. And I chose the forest. Step 2 is to decide on the aspects of your forest, the setting. So break down your setting, okay, into certain parts. So my chosen setting was the forest. And then I broke it down into branches, trees, leaves, and dirt. Advik, if you're trying to ask a question, you are on mute.
I didn't hear you say so.
Okay, so step 1 is to decide on your setting. Step 2 is to break your setting down. Step 3 is to collect your adjectives, nouns, and your verbs. And step 4 is to align them with the aspects of your setting.
Thank you.
All good. Okay, does anybody have any other questions about the 4 steps of using personification in settings?
Can you send them in the chat?
Yeah, I put the example in the chat, but I can put down the raw steps, okay?
Thanks.
Oh,
Wait, excuse me, can you please create a reading list for us? In
of
case we
books
need
that you
some good
would like
books.
to read, yeah?
Yeah,
Or
for
that I
like
feel like you
good
should read,
to
yeah.
improve.
So, can I ask, Naman, what books are you reading right now?
Mainly Rick Riordan.
Oh, so you're onto like Percy Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the books that I really liked that he did that helped me with any kind of creative writing was the Red Pyramid trilogy. So after you finish Percy Jackson, you can go read that. I think that's fantastic.
What books are like recommended?
Recommended. I will put a reading list together at the end of the lesson as well. Looks like we have a lot of things to put down at the end of the lesson. But my favorite writer in terms of creativity and developing creativity is always going to be Enid Blyton. She's the foundations in which I write my settings upon. Okay. Enid Blyton, and her name is in the chat. Okay. So we have the example down, right? I'm hoping, because it is in the chat. Now I'm going to read you a paragraph of a setting that I have constructed, and it has a couple things that have been personified in it. I don't know, we'll also put it down into the chat because I know that a couple people will lose track and I'm sure I will have to repeat it. All right, so this is my construction of setting, and it is based on, if everybody was here last week, it was on the lighthouse in the middle of the ocean. That was what we were focusing on building metaphors on.
Yep.
Okay, so he trudges up the winding staircase to the top of the lighthouse. Instantly, he's knocked back by the force of the wind and the smell of the salt. It's so intense that it infiltrates his system and causes him to have to steady himself against the rail of the ledge, wet and flaky from where the paint is chipping away. His mouth lingers with the taste of something that sends his stomach into an endless churn. It's sickening. Surrounding him is a relentless ocean as far as the eye could see. Above, an array of gray, blue, and black clouds, pregnant with what would be a ruinous storm. Below, overwhelming waves battle against each other, inflicting thunderous cracks and whips as they torment the rocky foundations the lighthouse stood upon. So the reason I am reading you this example and what you need to take away from this is 3 things, okay? And the 3 things we have run through last week and this week. So last week we went through the 5 senses and how that constructed metaphors and settings. This week we went through personification, okay? And what I just did was I used metaphors, personification, and the 5 senses to construct one setting.
Excuse me?
Yes.
What does pregnant mean in that context?
So we know what pregnant means in a normal context, right? Like it's carrying something. So if it's pregnant with a ruinous storm, that means that it's carrying a storm that's about to happen.
Okay.
And I'm not asking that you replicate this kind of settings because that's unrealistic. What I'm asking is that we start practicing using figurative language and the 5 senses to construct our settings, because personification, metaphors, that all fits under figurative language. Have we gone through figurative language yet? Not you and me, but just collectively, have you guys gone through figurative language?
No.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay, there were a lot of yeses
a
and
lot
one
of
no.
times.
If that one person has questions about figurative language, they can ask me about it in the chat and I'll answer at 6:55. I'll start answering questions that have been left in the chat, okay?
Maria,
Yes.
I
How can I
have
help?
a question like from the text that you read. What does inflicting mean?
Inflicting means to do something to something else. Question answered, or any other further questions on that example that I have given?
Maria,
Yes. How can I help?
just a moment. What does infiltrate mean?
Infiltrate means to invade without somebody knowing you are there.
Oh, thanks.
Maria,
Or-
I have one more question. What does relentless mean? Like
Relentless means to keep going. It doesn't stop.
Okay.
Okay, so I would like to actually practice constructing a setting today with you guys, if that is all good with you in the last couple of minutes before class. We have a good amount of time, 12 minutes, yeah. I'd like to actually practice constructing a setting because it's one thing for me to go through the steps, but it's another thing for you guys to actually put it together. I'm not looking for something as chunky as the example I gave you. I am just looking for maybe 1 to 3 sentences where you have used personification. So if everybody could get down the setting that I'd like them to get down ocean, and I would like you to go through the steps, and I can give you some inanimate objects and vocabulary if you'd like, but I would also like to see where your vocabulary is sitting yourself.
But what's the topic gonna be?
The setting, we're not looking at topics, we're looking at setting. You are writing a couple of sentences for a setting, okay? And you're using personification in this setting.
So
is anybody confused about that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So basically what we're doing, right, is I'm going to give you a setting.
Yep.
It's going to be ocean. So there's a dead giveaway, it's ocean.
Mhm.
So I want you to follow the steps, the 1 to 4 steps that we just went through. And I would like you to write me, or to personify the ocean, technically, okay? Basically,
Yeah.
right? And I'd like that in a couple of sentences.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. All good. I'm going to give you some examples.
Bye.
And if possible, could you please drop the sentences that you write, or even if it's just one sentence, into the chat? That would be fantastic. You do not have to use the aspects of the setting, the boys, the bullets, the water, and the waves that I just put into the chat. You absolutely do not have to do that. That is just an example of the vocab and the aspects of the setting that you could align. But I would like to see what you are capable of.
So basically, we're just gonna just write a few sentences of personification about the ocean.
Yes, that would be fantastic. Yeah, and I'd like you to follow the steps. And if you have any questions, I'd like you to ask them.
Maria.
Yes, Shri.
Can you use like 2 types of personification in one sentence?
If you can give me an example of what you mean by that, of course.
That's what I like. Pretend like a storm, and the boats and boys were spinning around because of the swirling storm.
Start simple and go from there, because if you start doing too many things in one sentence, it's going to get confusing. Okay, So
Okay, thanks.
yes, experiment with maybe a couple of things, but always try to keep it as simple as possible, okay?
Okay, thanks.
No problem. So Advik, with your example, where is he? Let me just get the
What's going on?
we're just doing that little exercise, and if you have questions about the steps, you can ask me now. Does anybody have any questions?
Can you go over the steps again?
Yes, I can go over the steps again. That's no problem. Okay, so the first thing you want to do when you're constructing your, when you are adding personification to a setting, is you want to pick a setting, okay? The next thing you want to do is you want to break that setting down into what that setting is made up of. So as an example, let's say I pick the forest. What is a forest made up of? I know that a forest is made up of branches, leaves, trees, and dirt, okay? That's what a forest is made up of. So that's step 2, okay? Step 3 would be to collect a list of adjectives, verbs, and nouns that I could associate to the aspects of the setting that I've just deconstructed. Are you with me so far, Aaron? I think it was Aaron asking you the question.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. And the final step is to take your adjectives, verbs, and nouns, and of course, make sure that they are human characteristics at the end of the day, and align them with your setting that you've deconstructed, okay? Would you like me to go through the example one more time?
Yes.
Okay, so very quickly, I'll go through that example first, and then I will go through whatever other questions anybody has. So your first, my setting was a forest. The next thing that I decided was that the forest is made up of branches, trees, leaves, and dirt. The next thing I did was I picked adjectives, verbs, and nouns, or a list of words that I thought that I could associate to those aspects I just broke down, the branches, trees, leaves, and dirt. And then I aligned them, okay? And the examples I had for that were the branches whipped at one another, dirt hugged the bottom of his shoe, and the trees seemed to whisper to one another.
Okay.
Okay, are we happy with that?
Yeah.
Maria.
All right, yeah, Garrett, you had a question.
So is my example like I gave to you just then? Was it good? The ocean developed.
Give me 2 seconds. I need to find it. Here we go. The ocean developed. So you said the ocean was groaned and groaned,
Yeah,
okay?
erase the was.
Yeah, I thought so. The ocean groaned and groaned, yeah?
Yeah,
Yep,
I
no,
think I
your
sent it to you.
example is fine. Is anybody struggling with personifying the setting? If so, please raise your hand and
Maria,
we can go through it
can you
together.
just
Yeah,
check
Naman.
if my personification was all good or if I missed out on key points?
Yeah, of course.
Check mine as well.
Mine too.
And mine.
And mine.
Can you please check
And
mine?
And mine.
And mine.
And mine.
All right, so basically everybody wants feedback and that's okay. So if you want feedback, I'm gonna write it into the chat and that's gonna take a while, okay? So if you have questions, go ahead and ask them, but if you have feedback, it'll be more of an end of the lesson thing, okay?
Okay.
All right.
It's
So
6:56 anyways.
yeah, it is. So that is pretty much the only things, the only steps that you have to go through to personify any kind of setting, okay? What I would ask is that you practice it. The only way you are going to get this is if you keep practicing it.
At my school last year, we practiced personifying like once each day for like 2 or 3 weeks, or like a
Good.
term.
That's really good. I'm sure that really helps
And we
you.
made we made a board of personification, like time flies by and stuff like that.
Oh, that's really good. So you must be quite familiar with personification by now.
Yeah.
Good. All right, so I'm just going to start with the feedback now because I don't think anybody has any other questions.
What does torment mean?
Torment means to bother someone.
Wait, Maria, whose are you reading right now?
I'm going from the top to the bottom and I'm doing individually. If anybody, unless there's not everybody wants feedback, that's okay. Does only specific people want feedback? Because it is the end of class, the class is over. That's why I'm going through feedback now. So if people want to leave, they're more than welcome to. And I thank you all for listening and asking me questions and doing the activity.
Is there going to be feedback? Is that the only thing?
Yeah, that's the only thing I'm going through right now.
Okay.
Wait, do we stay if we want feedback?
Yes, you can stay if you want feedback.
Bye.
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 Wait, are you typing to everyone individually?
I would prefer to, unless would everybody want to see everybody else's feedback?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
I'm okay with it because it's a bit quicker.
Okay, you know what? I'm just too many options. I'm not going to give you guys options because too many people want too many different things. Trudges means to walk slowly.
Say hello.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to know how to access this recording of this class because I couldn't follow it from the beginning. I logged in late.
Okay. I will ask Melvin because I am new.
I know. He'll send it on YouTube.
Okay, so he does add it on YouTube. I'll ask him at the end as well. Hold on, Melvin.
His channel is called Loyola Tutoring.
He hasn't sent all the videos. There are some videos from the past.
Okay, but I'm under the assumption that he uploads all videos to his YouTube channel after class so that people who miss the lesson can go through.
Okay.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I tried it online. I searched for Loyola tutoring and I tried to find it, but I couldn't find the last week one because last week we couldn't log in. We were just trying to do it. We couldn't log in. And this week we logged in late.
Okay. Is it a
so-
private channel or a public channel? I will find out for
Yeah.
you.
It's a public. Sometimes Melvin sends it late.
The last week video was corrupted. Actually, I spoke with Melvin last week, and unfortunately, he said it's corrupted, so he was not able to upload it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he didn't upload it last week.
Yeah, he
Okay.
didn't.
Okay.
Okay. All right. But I am sorry, I don't have a definitive answer about that. I will ask Melvin in detail about
Okay.
it.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's okay.
Maria,
Yes.
have you like responded?
There's a lot to get through, so I will get to you eventually, okay?
Bye.
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 Thank you.
નહીં નહીં અહીંયા લીવ કરવાનું.
Thanks. Bye.
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 Wait, Maria, are you studying to be an author?
I'm not studying to be an author. I'm doing a double degree in literature and English education. So I want to be a English teacher. Yeah. None. I gave feedback for you, didn't I?
No, not yet.
Ooh.
I haven't received it.
Bye.
Bye. Shri, where is yours? Sidrath, can you please send me yours again?
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
I did it again.
Bye, thanks.
Oh, good. Okay, so good. I got it this time. Nice.
Bye.
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 How do I join? Bye.
Bye.
Bye.